What is up, YouTube? It's your girl Evelyn, and I am back with the episode 8 season finale recap of the L Word Generation Q. As always, there will be spoilers, so proceed with caution. If you're interested in winning some L Word merch, make sure to watch until the end of the video, or go here. It's finally election night, and Bet, along with hundreds of her supporters, friends, and members of the press, are packed into Dana's for the official campaign watch party. The polls have just closed, and the election results are beginning to trickle in. Bet is matching her opponent, Jeff Milner, district for district, and the party's mood is becoming cautiously optimistic. As expected, PR titan Danny's intensity level is through the roof, yet she somehow finds the time to look at Bet like this. As the last of the results come in, Danny and Bet retreat to Shane's office/wine cave to await the final decision together. Dozens of page refreshes later, the wait is over and Jeff Milner is officially declared the newest mayor of Los Angeles County. But Bet has only a few moments to process the devastating loss. After reassuring a stunned Danny, Bet reties her scarf, emotionally pulls herself together, then walks out with her head held high and painfully concedes the election. Bet and the gang are at Shane's house, and Bet is in an unnaturally high spirits for having just lost an election. She explains to Alice and Shane that Mayor Milner reached out and offered her a position in his new administration. He wants Bet to spearhead a task force created to address the city's opioid problem, and Bet has jumped at the opportunity. She may not have won the election, but at least she's able to tackle the one issue that led her to run in the first place. Bet and Danny have just lugged the last of the campaign swag from former headquarters to Chateau Porter. After a quick chat about Danny's lack of future career plans, Bet asks Danny to join her as an opioid eradicator in Milner's administration. Danny tells Bet that during afternoon wine with Big Pharma Daddy Warbucks, she learned that her father's company had backed Milner's campaign the entire time, and that Bet's opioid task force is a setup. Milner is taking fistfuls of opioid cash from Big Pharma Daddy Warbucks and using Bet as an opioid beard. The revelation leaves Bet absolutely gutted. Baby Angelica is home from school and searching for her Mama B. She finds Bet in living room number 2 taking a good old-fashioned depression nap. Thankfully, Angie is an insightful, emotionally intelligent teen that won't allow her mother to wallow in self-pity. She peels Bet off the couch and forces her to go on a hike. Angie takes Bet to the place where they spread some of Kit's ashes and tells Mama B that this is where she comes whenever she feels sad. The two have a beautiful, heartfelt talk about grieving and sex. And there's even a throwback to Bet's silent retreat, and mother and daughter scream their lungs out to the California hills. On their way back, they run into Maya, a cute reporter that attended Bet's watch party. She asks Bet out on a date, and although Bet doesn't commit right away, Angie teases her and tells her she may have just met the love of her life. The last we see of Bet this season is her walking into a restaurant to meet her potential future boo thang, Maya. Alice is still struggling with being thrupleless, or more specifically, natless. At Bet's watch party, she scrolls through Tinder looking for someone to fill the hole in her heart, but all she finds is a beautiful woman who may or may not have a parakeet obsession. Alice shelves the search, and the next day, while hanging with Shane and Bet, is inspired by Bet's determination to stay true to herself even in the face of her painful loss to Milner. Thoroughly motivated, Alice shows up to work with a new attitude. She's not letting the network bigwigs change her show. She calls an emergency staff meeting and tells her people that if they're going down on their own terms, doing a show that matters to them. She then tells Sophie to book well-known writer and feminist Roxane Gay and tells Drew he can either get on board or he can get out of the way. During the interview, Alice comes clean with Roxane and her audience about her throuple experience, saying, I thought I was this cool, open, understanding queer lady who wanted to live outside of every box, and I'm not. I'm just heartbroken because I just want Nat. Then, in a moment straight out of every rom-com ever, Nat stands up in the middle of the audience and says, "I'm here." The cameras continue rolling as Nat hijacks the interview and tells Alice how much she loves her and that she's willing to fight for her and only her. At the beginning of the episode, Shane gets a call and has to leave Bet's watch party early, which is never a good sign when you have a pregnant wife at home. We then see Shane rush into an emergency room waiting area where she tries to comfort a shaken Kiara. Kiara is bleeding and has been waiting to see a doctor. Shane is enraged and demands that her wife be seen immediately, causing the nurse to run off and find a doctor. It's a stressful situation for everyone, and although Kiara tries to hold it together, it's evident she's deeply worried. Sometime later, they're back at home and Kiara is lying in the fetal position sobbing, and it becomes apparent that she had a miscarriage. The next day, Kiara walks in on Shane packing up a box of toys that had recently been sent to them by friends. When asked why, Shane tells Q she was afraid that seeing the toys so soon after her miscarriage might be upsetting. Kiara then tells Shane that she plans on trying to get pregnant again, and Shane doesn't have much to say. Kiara angrily accuses Shane of being relieved about the miscarriage, and the two fight. After accusing Shane of only loving herself, Kiara throws her wedding ring at Shane and stomps away. It's late and poor Shane is driving around LA feeling sorry for herself when she sees a stray dog rooting through the trash for food. She picks up the dog, which I guess makes sense, but we'll have to wait until next season to find out what happens with Kiara, Shane, and the pup. Sophie is at Bet's watch party watching Danny watch Bet while Finley watches her. Danny takes a quick break from Bet Watch to give Sophie some much-needed attention. Finley watches them with a regretful look on her face, and the moment Danny bounces, she rushes over and hits Sophie with a "we need to talk." Finley explains that she doesn't want to mess things up for Sophie and Danny and wants to pretend as if the kiss never happened. Sophie quickly agrees, but it's clear the kiss is still on the forefront of her mind. It's the day after the election, and for the first time in a long time, Danny doesn't have a damn thing to do, so she decides they should fly to Hawaii and elope. Sophie's super reluctant, but Danny is hot and persistent, and Sophie eventually gives in. Danny invites her father over for some afternoon wine and to tell him about her plans to fly to Hawaii tomorrow and elope with Sophie. Daddy Warbucks has never been a fan of Sophie and Danny's relationship, and if there's one thing about him that I admire, it's his consistency. He maintains his view that Sophie is beneath Danny and theorizes that because Sophie comes from a broken home, she's gonna leave Danny when things get tough because that's what she's used to. Then Danny's like, "Oh, Daddy, knock it off." And he's all like, "Okay, honey." Sophie is leaving work for the day when she runs into Finley, who asks her for a ride home. On their way out, Finley has to drop off a bouquet of flowers in the green room, and Sophie uses the opportunity to tell her about eloping in Hawaii with Danny. After pressing Finley to tell her how the news really makes her feel, Sophie can no longer control her desire for Finley, or, her desire for attention and validation. And despite all of the very strong opinions about the Finley-Sophie pairing, it's hard to deny that their love scene was arguably the best love scene of the entire season. Later that evening, Sophie is in bed sobbing, and Danny, the world's worst reader of basic human emotion, thinks Sophie's simply nervous about their upcoming nuptials. Danny reassures Sophie of her love and tells her she'll always be there for her. Finley is once again outside of Rebecca's house, but this time she's far from drunk. She tells Rebecca about the lapse in judgment with Sophie and how she's afraid it may have ruined Sophie's relationship with Danny. Finley also apologizes to Rebecca about the priest comment. Rebecca questions whether hooking up with Sophie was truly a mistake or something else. The two exes then get into a deep conversation about shame, and Rebecca suggests that Finley start taking responsibility for some of the things she's done. Finley takes the advice to heart, and the very next thing we see her do is return the bike she stole in episode 1. Sophie and Finley are backstage at Alice's show. Finley tells Sophie she's flying home to Missouri for her sister's wedding and her plane leaves tonight. A clearly emotional Sophie asks Finley if she's coming back, and Finley says yes. Finley then says a quick goodbye and walks away. Sophie is on the verge of going after her when Drew interrupts, and Sophie is forced to let Finley leave. It's now torture the audience time. Danny is waiting at the airport. Finley is waiting at the airport. Sophie is at the airport. What happens next? Find out next season on the L Word Generation Q.
I hate it here! I want to go home!
It's opening night at an art show featuring Jose's paintings, and Micah is excited. Not only does he get to support his man, but Jose has made Micah the main subject of one of his paintings, and Micah can't wait to see it. Jose unveils the piece, and Micah is stunned. It's a beautiful work of art, and Micah is amazed at how Jose sees him. He turns to Jose and finally utters the L word, and Jose responds in kind. Later in the evening, Micah is taking in Jose's amazing art while Jose is off hobnobbing with some people from the art world. A random guy comes up to Jose and starts a conversation with him about Jose's art and how much it's changed over the years. The man then introduces himself as Scott, Jose's husband. Because you guys have been so awesome and supportive and have stuck with me these past 8 episodes, I wanted to show my appreciation, so I'm doing a giveaway which should be live by the time this video is posted. There's only one requirement to enter the giveaway, and that is that you be a subscriber of the channel. There will be 2 winners and you'll both receive the same awesome Alice mug. The link for the giveaway is in the description box, and like I said, the giveaway is live now. I still have one more L Word video coming your way next week, and it will be a full season review. I'll go over the good, the bad, and the weird stuff that happened this season, and a few season 2 predictions as well. And let me know in the comments, what did you guys think about the first season of Generation Q? I will definitely include some of your comments in the next video, so tell me how you really feel. Thank you as always for watching. Make sure you're subscribed because I have some really cool content on the way that I will tell you all about in the next video. I'll see you guys next week.